Last season, we were introduced to April Sexton, who is a first-generation American, super hard worker. Her brother is actually a med student who is stationed at the same hospital, so she gets to kind of keep a watchful eye over him. She holds integrity. It's close to the heart. How much she plays by the rules, usually. We did, toward the end of the season, get an opportunity to see her veer away from that with the alcoholic patient, and that gave more dimension to her character and showed us how much she really connects with the patients and listens to them, and for her the job is more than just a job, but it's really about the bigger picture. She started off the season in a semi-relationship with her old friend from high school on Chicago Fire, Kelly Severide. That didn't really go anywhere. You know, he's kind of a playboy, and she just kind of kept to herself, focused on her work, checked out dating apps a bit, but then this really tall, handsome ex-football player comes into the hospital and insists on taking her out, and she kind of gets swept off her feet. In the final episode, there's a kind of a casual marriage proposal, which is a shock to her. I mean, she loves the guy, but her kind of decision-making process about that gets thwarted by news of her tuberculosis diagnosis. We pick up right after that. It's only a few weeks have passed. She's really now just trying to come to terms with this illness, and even though it's dormant and she's not contagious, she's super paranoid. Doesn't want to be around her boyfriend Tate. His son doesn't want to infect anyone. Still comes to work, but is, you know, super careful about everything and everyone she comes into contact with. So it's going to be a process. It's not something that you get over overnight, and I think most of the season is going to be quite a journey dealing with that. I think season 2 really starts off with a bang. There's a lot going on, both personally for each and every single one of our characters, and as a hospital, as an emergency room. We have cases come in that at least I think both as a person and as a character, as April has never heard of before. There's some really unusual stuff going on here, and I think it's a really great way to just suck everyone back in and you know, keep that great momentum that we had going in season 1. I'm far from a nurse in real life. I've had very little contact with Western medicine at all, like in general, even as a patient. So it was a huge learning experience, and our training in the hospitals was indispensable. I mean, being able to shadow as undercover, you know, as med students, doctors and nurses, and see not just what they were doing, but how they were doing it, the attitude that they were doing it with. You know, things are urgent, but they're still very cool. You know, if they panic, the patient's gonna panic. And so learning how to adopt all those things. And then technically, when it comes to using instruments, and I kind of thought of it as choreography, so as somewhat of a dancer, that kind of made it a little easier for me. I definitely have a newfound respect for nurses and doctors. Not that I didn't have respect for them before, but I just didn't know what I know now. I didn't, you know, have that proximity, and especially in the ER, especially when dealing with trauma, there's so much that they have to leave at work in order to be able to, like, be okay on the inside and go home and lead their own lives. I personally couldn't deal with all of that blood, all of that death, all of that loss every single day as a job, and for that, I think it is just one of the most honorable professions out there. one of the main reasons for our success is our writers. The writing is just spectacular. The way, for an actor to not have to work hard, yeah, we have to do our work, but we don't have to force it or be super creative. Like, how in the world am I going to make this sound natural? How am I going to make it sound like someone would actually say this? And that's the problem that we encounter a lot, actually. Sometimes writing and speaking don't meet as seamlessly as a writer may think, and that's why we have table reads to hear things out loud. Our writers are just so good, and their research is so thorough that the biggest satisfaction for me is bumping into real nurses on the street and having them say, "Thanks for representing," instead of, "You guys do things really off. It's not how it's actually done. I haven't heard that," and that's really, really rewarding. The character grows with the show and with our audience, and with, it's just this huge experience. And every time a new script comes in and I open it up, I'm just so excited to see what new insights I'm going to get into who April is. Obviously, I've decided, we know who she is in general, but I'm looking forward to seeing more just as much as you.